Alright, this is the next video in my series on the Global West coilover system for a 6566 Ford Mustang. Here's the upper control arms. These are built with an offset ball joint to give you extra caster in them. You can see the ball joint is attached with 4 bolts, so it's removable. And as you can see, it has a cover over the ball joint, which will come up later. And I'm going to start by greasing all the zerts here to get it ready for installation. You notice there's no spring mount. This is the coilover kit. And with Global West, the coilover goes right through that upper control arm. Just using Mobil 1 synthetic grease. It's nice the grease zerts are right on top, so you can grease these when you do your regular maintenance. But they don't come greased, so you got to do this. I prefer to do it before installing it. The rear two are no problem. Easy to do. Didn't really even take much grease. But for the ball joint, this is the driver's side. My grease gun would not fit on that zert because of that cap that protects the front of the ball joint. I think it's designed to go up and hit the bump stop to keep your suspension from traveling too far, but my grease gun would not fit on that zert. And perhaps if you had a different tip, it would go on. And this was only on my driver's side. The passenger side, I didn't have this problem, so I don't know if it's also related to the ball joint being offset for that extra caster. So I had to, it was nice that the ball joint was removable because I had to remove it in order to get the grease in there. Thus far, this is the only criticism I have of the kit. Everything's been really great and has gone together as I expected, but this is not something you expect to do when just trying to grease your ball joint. So if I ever want to add grease again, I'll either have to disassemble it or notch that cover so I can get the end of my grease gun on that zert. Once I had the removable ball joint out, you can see it actually has an angle on the zert. I don't know if that was helping or hurting. But once I had it out, no problem to get it greased up. And then back in. Like I said, 4 bolts hold it in. So I guess it was nice it was removable. It would have been better if I could have reached that grease zert. Again, only on the driver's side. Didn't have a problem with the passenger side. And once it's all greased up, it's ready to go. Now for this application, 6566, it comes with this spacer plate that you need to install. I guess it gets the camber closer, and for me it did, so don't forget to put that on before you install it. I already got my coilovers on. Now you can see the lower 2 holes. I've already drilled, if you watched the previous video, I already drilled those lower holes for the arning drop, 9/16 holes. So that already corrects some of the geometry on the suspension here. Upper control arm. It was a tight fit, but it cleared all the way around. And it went in pretty well. Oh, so I did add 2 shims, 1 on each bolt, and that got me pretty close to having the correct amount of camber. Now on the engine bay side, this is where the bolt comes through to the header. If you got it pressed all the way in, it was so tight I couldn't get the nut on there. I had to back the control arm out a little to get the nut started. But once this is actually installed all the way, it still clears the header. It's really tight on either side, but it did clear. There's plenty of room. I'm not worried about it, but nice snug fit. So make sure you follow that template when you drill the holes to lower the control arm. Also, I have the brace plate in here, the dog bone plate, and it still clears. It's really tight underneath, but it clears. If you're putting a suspension like this, you probably got that brace in there, so it will clear. And that is the upper control arm. My next video, I'm going to talk about the lower control arm, which is a really unique piece in this kit. It combines both the strut and the lower control arm into one unit. Thank you.